Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Dojo Live. I am Tulio Siragusa, and I want to welcome my co-host, Kim Lantis, who's
Hi,
joining us
Tulio.
from Hermosillo, Mexico. Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank
And
you.
let's not forget our guest, Fardad Zabetian, who is broadcasting from New York. Welcome, Fardad. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for having me.
Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and I think it's Kim's favorite topic as well, the future of work, and specifically about how to have multilingual meetings in multinational environments. That should be a really interesting conversation. But before we get into that, let's get to know you a little bit, Fardad. Would you please introduce yourself to the audience? Tell us a little bit about you.
Thank you. Yes, for sure. Fardad Zabetian here. I'm a co-founder and CEO of KUDO. I'm based in New York City, and I moved to New York from San Francisco about 10 years ago. Um, and happy to share my story with the audience today.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the States. Lots happened this year, especially in New York. So glad to see you're safe. Tell us a little bit about KUDO. What is the company all about?
Sure. KUDO is my third business. So prior to KUDO, for about 18 years, I've been in the space of language and technology. So I've been providing hardware solutions mainly for in-person meetings when people they need to have live language interpretation to be able to communicate. And my focus has been mainly large enterprises, inner government, and non-for-profit and associations. The reason I moved to San Francisco, from San Francisco to New York, was prior business being awarded to renovate the UN, entire UN, with all the technology for all the 20 conference rooms. So overall, I've been spending my last 20 years in my professional career solving one of the biggest problem, which is overcoming language barriers for businesses. And in regard to KUDO in 2016, I realized that there is a huge transition of moving to online meetings, decentralized meetings, and there was no real solution for multilingual meetings happening online. So that was kind of the aha moment. Then set up the company, partner, brought the right people with the co-founding team, both with the software background and background with language interpretation, and co-founded KUDO on January 2017 as a language as a service platform to be able to provide live language interpretation during a video call, web conferencing, training, online meetings, and launched the product end of 2018. Yes, so we are now created a new subcategory within the web conferencing space called multilingual web conferencing, and we're leading in that space with a network of 9,000 certified interpreters and a self-service platform to be able to provide 80 plus languages, 24/7 access for businesses.
Well, congratulations. There's a good possibility we could be a client. We have almost 5,000 people in 22 locations worldwide. So let's see what we discover. And I'd have to say 2020 in this case has probably been very kind to your business in terms of being opportunistic. But let's go right into the topic, because I'm really curious to learn how you guys do this, how it works, because it's very timely for what's going on. Everybody's working from home and a lot of businesses are not traveling as much. So you still need to connect. So Kim, what's the topic of our conversation today? Let's go right into it.
Thanks, Tulio, and thank you for joining us for that. So, like we talked about already, today's topic is multilingual meetings and the future of work. trying to answer the question, can I really organize an online meeting or event in multiple languages? Fardad already told us that the answer is yes, but we'd like to know a bit more. So how does KUDO work?
So KUDO, you have access to your self-service platform. So you have an account as a KUDO client. You would be able to log in, schedule a meeting based on the topic, date, time, and the languages you need. So you can, let's say tomorrow, you want to do a Dojo Live bilingual for your audience in Latin America, let's say Spanish as well, and maybe you want to add Portuguese to cover Brazilians. And this way you create the link for your participants. You share the link. You share the link with your interpreters. If you would like us to book interpreters for you, we're happy to do that as well. And then basically everybody join on KUDO platform, being able to follow the meeting in their own languages. Interpreters are basically interpreting from the speaker's language to any of those languages that you choose, and they're able to do interactive meetings.
Okay, so if I was sitting next to you, I'd be coming really close to listen a little closer because I'm very curious to learn how it comes together. So if I'm hearing this right, if you're doing any kind of a quarterly meeting, for example, across the globe with all your employees, you have the way to tie in translation services for anyone who's listening in any language, as well as if you're speaking or you're producing a conference, you also can now translate the speech of the speakers in multiple languages. But how does it actually work? Like, do you see the speaker like this, and then there's someone you hear in your ear, or is there like a little window with the interpreter? How does it logistically work and come together?
Sure. So our platform has a drop-down menu, a language selector, where participants, once they join in, they select the language that they want to follow the meeting, and they stay on that language. This way, they switch from the speaker and listen to an interpreter if the speaker is speaking a different language. In case you want to have interactive conversations, so let's say three of us, we speak three different languages, any of us could speak our preferred language and stay on that language. So it's real time, and we rely on human interpreters. These are simultaneous conference interpreters that they are trained individuals that they can do live interpretation as you speak. So if you have ever followed one of these UN meetings, we pretty much created a virtual UN on the cloud available for businesses.
That's great. So you never have two people in your ear at once, right? That's lovely. I have to say,
Unless you've got mental illness, you might,
Yeah, I'm from the United States and I live in Mexico. And one of the things that always bothers me is when I'm trying to watch something like, I don't know, the Academy Awards or certain programs live, they'll have the interpreter over top of, but you can still hear what's going on. And so I understand Spanish, I understand English, and I've got both going on. And I'm like, I can't really hone in on any particular language. And so that's really nice, I think. So you kind of mute out the main speaker if that main speaker is a language other than your preferred language, and so you're only hearing the interpreter. But you're still able to see the speaker so that you can pick up on cues of, let's say, body language or facial expressions, so I can get an idea of, is this person making a joke? Is this person being sarcastic? Are they angry? Am I able to see those types of things?
Absolutely. So you have full video of the speakers, and so after listening to an interpreter for like a couple of minutes into the conversation, you kind of forget that you're not really listening to the speaker, because they're so good that they follow all the emotions, the tone, the humor, the every piece of signs that you want from a speaker. You would be able to follow that through those interpreted languages. Going back to your Grammy Award example, sometimes for those larger events, they want to mix a bit of the floor, what we call it in multilingual meetings, which is the ambience, the crowd basically chanting and cheering. So that's because they want people to feel that they're also in the space. So that's really because of those kind of a grand events that they use that. But for meetings, no, you pick the language and you only hear that specific language.
So I believe you mentioned 87 available languages. Is one of those languages sign language? And if so, how many sign languages do you use? Because it's my understanding that sign language actually varies from country to country, correct?
That's correct. Very good point. So no, these are we're talking about spoken languages, 80 plus spoken languages, but our platform provides. So basically, we were the first platform that offered sign language for web conferencing, video conferencing, and you're correct. We have American Sign Language, British Sign Language. These are just English-speaking sign language, but also, let's say, Spanish sign language would be different from Portuguese sign language versus the Brazilian sign language. So even though the spoken words are the same, but the sign interpretation is different in majority of the countries, and we support those sign languages as well.
So what are the most common or the most popular languages that you see using today in 2020?
Within our platform, based on the last the statistics that we have from the last 9 months of this year, so the 4 most common languages within our platform is German, Spanish, French, and Chinese. And this is not because of these are the languages that are being used more often globally. This is because our clients that we sign up in 2020, they have the audience and partners and teams that they need this language outreach. But again, if you look at overall on a global scale, Spanish and Chinese are one of the 2 most common spoken, languages because of the population and so on. But when it comes to our own platform, based on the statistics as we have, German, Spanish, Chinese, and French are the ones.
Interesting. So, I mean, it's very exciting that you offer this. And what have been some of the hurdles in getting companies to adopt? Any of them, have difficult? I don't see why anybody wouldn't want to adopt this. Is it costly? Tell us a little bit what the journey has been like to get adoption.
Yeah. So we start our 2020 as our very kind of a first year of having, we thought, a very product market fit solution with the proper strategy. And then we were on track to hit all of our milestones, and then COVID happened. And
you and everybody else.
Yeah, but the impact was on us was also very huge and significant in a positive way. And it kind of accelerated our user adoption by about 18 months. So what we all have in common as entrepreneurs, we're very optimistic. We always think things are going to happen quicker than it actually do. So, but in this case, they just put us forward about 18 months. So from March 1st, we had a team of 14 at KUDO. Today, we are a team of 72, and we have about 30 open positions. We went from a handful of meetings per day to sometimes 600 multilingual meetings per day. We went from 200,000 minutes to 30 million minute usage in less than 3 weeks. So think about the challenges that we had to deal with as far as this very much accelerated growth. And the hurdle for adopting to a new technology, because our focus is really larger multinational enterprises that overall they're not very much known for quick user adoption, right? It takes a longer time, and especially when you have kind of this multi-user group that they're using your product. So our product is used by users, by meeting planners and support team, and also by interpreters. So you have like 3 user groups that they need to use our product, and each they see specific value that we need to address. So that's kind of a being able to address different user groups in a very short time and be able to adopt based on their needs and the value that they want to see in the product. So that has been a little bit challenging, but with being very close to them and constantly getting their feedback, that's one way to overcome those challenges.
Fardad, what a great problem to have. Usually you go to investors and you pitch a time frame and they turn around in their head say, okay, it's going to be double that. But in this case, it was the other way around because of the pandemic. So congratulations. Obviously getting scaling up is a big challenge when something like that happens. Sounds like you guys are living up to the demand. Any recognition in the recent year in terms of accolades in the marketplace for basically, I think I heard you earlier saying you guys are the leading provider of this in the market. Any awards you guys have received?
Yes. So about a year ago, we attended the meeting show in London, and we got awarded for future of the meetings. And then last week we got awarded for the future of work. This was during South Summit, which was about 3,000 startups attending this competition, and we won the track of future of work. But also we got the award for the best team, which made me really proud of this category specifically. As you know, going from a team of 14 to a team of 72 in less than 6 months. And I have not met more than 9 people of the 72 team members in person. So trying to really build a business, build a culture, and for such a global team and still being able to win this award or being recognized, this is kind of a pretty much the best piece of 2020 for me. And yes, within our team, we are 72 people. Only 23 of us are in the US, and only 9 of us are in New York. And we operate out of about 19 different countries. When overall we have basically we speak 22 languages that are first language other than English. So truly a multilingual, multicultural team. Of course, it brings its own challenges. We can't really schedule a happy hour with the team because I really don't want to drink at 6 a.m. On a Monday morning or a Friday morning.
So Fardad, your team being 72, I believe you said, individuals in 20 plus languages.
The 30 openings, so they're going to be 102 soon.
Yeah. But does your team function mostly utilizing the English language, or do you utilize KUDO yourselves and as a way also to double up on bug searches, I guess?
So we have like a daily KUDO calls that usually it's on 3-4 languages. We've done a couple of all hands meetings with live interpretation, as we have many Spanish, French, Nepalese, Taiwanese. So we have a very different groups, but everybody speaks with good proficiency in English when it comes to or basically internal meetings. However, whenever we want to basically train a new product manager, a new BD, it's very important for us that the terminology that they use, let's say in French, in Spanish, in Portuguese, are the right terminology. So we try to conduct those trainings in those specific languages that we want our team to convey the same message.
Fardad, I have to say, a lot of companies talk about inclusivity, right? But then fail to deliver in terms of actually being able to communicate in everyone's language. Some companies will do a monthly stand-up meeting for all employees, but they will do it in the primary language. And then those few, maybe just 5 or 6, are not getting the benefit of hearing it in their own native tongue, and they feel like they're second-class citizens. It just happens, and it doesn't have to happen. What I'm hearing is this solves that problem. The platform and the solution you put in place allows anyone and everyone, no matter where they are, to be fully active and participating without feeling like they've been left behind because they perhaps don't have the proficiency in the language that's being presented in. So congratulations for doing that. And internally as a team, you seem very proud of having received the award for your team. What's some of the guiding principles that determine how you guys work together as a company? What are the things that are working for you culturally that are making your team work so well together beyond just the ability to translate conversations on a video call? Tell us a little bit about your culture.
So for me, the effective communication beyond language barrier has been a very important since when I was a teenager. So I grew up in Iran, where my dream was, okay, I want to really help people to communicate, especially governments, head of states, leaders. So my dream was really provide the technology for the Security Council. When I did that, I said, oh my God, this is like amazing. Now, my mission, personal mission, is really beyond diplomats and kings and queens and so on. It's really for businesses. So for businesses, I think there are 2 elements. One is access to talent, and the other one is access to clients. So in both areas, it's very short-sighted thinking if you think that all the right talent, all the right employees, they need to really speak your language, because not necessarily the smartest people should speak my language if they want to work for me, and vice versa. If I start reaching out to a global market at very early stage on my business, I can really develop a product or a solution or a service that is recession proof. It's really suited globally, and it would be able to really adopt and collect that user feedback early on when I invest in a new technology. So these 2 elements, access to talent and access to client, I think it's really need to be at a very early stage. So for us, we really believe that future of work is global and multilingual, and that's for us, and of course remote, as we all know. So that's really the key as far as our vision at KUDO.
I think that's great. I think the world is a big place, and with KUDO, it gets to be bigger and at the same time a bit smaller, right? Making places and everyone a bit more accessible. How would you, or do you as a company also address the issues of infrastructure, in the sense that perhaps a lot of the people that your translators or whoever that might be are perhaps living in countries that don't have as stable of infrastructure access, reliable access to the internet that they require for their jobs? So what types of solutions, is that a problem that you experience, and what types of solutions have you come up with?
Very, very valid point. We have a very comprehensive onboarding process that is combination of an online and kind of a one-on-one to really review the setup for interpreters and also for participants. So we have a group that provides one-on-one testing, making sure the connectivity is there. So we definitely need to have connectivity for interpreters to be able to support meetings on KUDO platform. However, when you look at as a really a global approach with KUDO, an interpreter, let's say you're in Mexico, an interpreter in Mexico is now able to support and offer her services on a global scale, right? And so more opportunities for interpreters. And we see also more opportunities for businesses. We see also that because of transitioning to online and because of pandemic, we tend to attend more and more meetings on a daily basis. We meet more people, and there is less time for us to prep for those meetings. So this way, having shorter meetings but more frequently, and then also the outreach is now wider, because when you have online meetings, so pretty much you give access to a much broader audience, hence more multilingual audience. So being able to provide that language access is the key for today's meeting landscape, in our opinion.
I love that. As we wrap up to the end of our conversation today, I guess I have two final questions for you. My second to last question is, earlier we were talking about what I refer to as the heart language, right? So even though, for your example, you have your teammates of 70 plus individuals, 20 plus languages, and each of you can communicate in English, but it just means more, or we feel freer, right, when we're able to speak from our heart. And I think that is very important. So my question for you is there a tipping point for your service? Is it worth it for just one person who needs that interpreter? Or do you see that businesses are saying, I'm not going to use the service until there's 10 people, 20 people, 100 people? What's the need? What's that number? Is it quantifiable, or is it more just on the role of the individual who needs the language? I know what I think, but what do you see happening?
Yeah, let me try to answer your question from a different perspective. So what are the main reasons people meet, right? So people, they meet to educate one another, to train, right? To make decisions, or to brainstorm and exchange ideas. And in all three areas, if you want a successful meeting, you need engagement. And engagement needs to happen in different levels, meaning when you have in-person meetings, you overcome sometimes some of the language barriers by using body language, by having eye contacts, and so on. When you meet online, this language barrier becomes more of a challenge because you're missing that. You're missing that eye contact, body language. So for us, this happened in translation business 20, 30 years ago. When you want to sell something, you can't sell your product in Latin America without translating your content into Spanish, right? If you want to sell something to me, you should have it. Many people might have limited proficiency in English to read a manual or read a name or advertisement. But if they really want to connect with your audience, you got to speak the language. So now when it comes to meetings, if you really want engagement from your audience, you got to be able to give them the ability to ask their questions in their own language and be part of the meeting.
Absolutely. I agree with you. So at the end of the day, it comes down to, do you value what people's contributions are going to be? And if you do so, then you make the investment to connect and engage. We're up on time, Fardad. It's been a pleasure to have you. We wish you a lot of success, and we know many companies that need this. Pretty much any company that has multinationals needs this. We need this. So we'll make sure we put your ways to contact your business and connect with you guys on the landing page of this show. And it's been a pleasure to have you. We will make sure we recap this on Monday as well. Kim, what do we got coming up tomorrow and Thursday? I think Thursday got canceled, but what do we got coming up tomorrow?
That is correct. No Dojo Live on Thursday. Wow, wow, wow. But tomorrow we do have an exciting show, and we're going to be talking with Anne Herman from Herman, and she will be telling us about Idea to SaaS, leading brand evolution as a female entrepreneur. Mainly a discussion about resilience and adaptability, how to not lose the magic of your idea while evolving in an ever-changing world around us.
Sounds interesting. Thanks for joining us. Until tomorrow at 1 p.m., stay safe.
Bye.
Thank you.